Howdy, campers. This is Nate, writer, producer, director, pretty much everything, along with the help of my very gracious dad of Camp Kill. This is kind of cool. I know it's been quiet on the Camp Kill front over the last decade and a half, but this being the 15th anniversary of the release of Camp Kill, I thought, well, this would be kind of cool. You're the only one that I know. I'm here joined by Matt.
Hi there.
He's one of the cast members from Camp Kill, one of the main players. You're the only one I know still from the cast. That's because I knew you before the movie. And I thought, well, since we're together, I got you together for some stuff. And incidentally, if you want to see what we've been up to, feel free to check out. We've been doing movie reviews on Huge Movie Fanatics here on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description. We started, you can watch the first years of that, and he stops by every now and then to do that. Also, be sure to check out his...
My channel is State of Flux. It's also Film Criticism channel.
So I'll put a link for that in the description as well. But what we're here to do today, I thought it'd be fun to do, since you guys, you never really hear about anything Camp Kill ever since it pretty much came out, and it's just like 15 years. I got them here for reviews anyway. I thought, well, let's do a little interview and ask how, I know this of course, but I just want to see what you can recollect. I thought it'd be fun for people. How the hell did you get involved with Camp Kill?
Well, you and I were kind of interested in making movies, and we worked at a video store at the same time, same video store, and we would talk movies, and especially an interest in horror, and even though we both liked horror, we liked sort of different conflicting horrors. You were always more of the Friday the 13th cat, I was more of a Nightmare on Elm Street Scream kind of guy, not that you don't like those.
I like those as well.
But, so we each kind of were interested in video production and stuff like that, and we kind of made movies separately. I made movies under my other channel, which is no longer really in existence, but it's a piss poor production. I made the Helmet Zephyr movies, which was a talkie serial killer, not unlike Freddy, who would make a pun as he sliced and diced. Meanwhile, you invited me to be part of your movie, and yours was, the way I worked was entirely on improv. We would get together, I'd ask a friend who was going to play the killer to bring tools, and we'd just work and write as we went. You actually had, a movie that you wanted to make. You offered me a part, and I was like, absolutely, I'd be happy to do this. Happy to help out anybody who's an aspiring filmmaker and whatnot, who's in the genre that I was interested. Who doesn't want to, die in a slasher film? So I was sort of flattered and came on board.
Very cool. Do you know why I asked you?
I don't know why you asked me.
I think the reason I asked you is because, as I stated already, I did with the help of my dad, of course, and Rachel Grubb did help with a little bit of the casting, but I did the majority of everything on this movie myself, including the casting. Of course, I saw. If they didn't want to do an online edition and send me the link, then they came. The meeting place was kind of the video store. Come audition, and at that point I was just so sick of auditioning people. I'm like, hey, wait, Matt makes his own videos and acts in them with his friends. I'm like, let's see if Matt would be interested in being the third guy in this kind of trio of guys that go out to this place. And it was just because it was easier than going through another casting experience. But it worked out so good. And like I say, I'll probably be indebted to you for the rest of my life, because you saved my ass, because I was so over casting. I like making the movie, writing, shooting, editing. I don't like casting. I don't like auditioning people. It was just like a thing you gotta do to make the movie. And by you being so gracious to take the part and save me from another casting, thank you so much.
Yeah, I have no problem. As I say, I'm always game to help somebody out, and it's also kind of like the spirit of independent filmmaking, is to kind of use what you have and use who you know to get the job done. And so, like, yeah, I totally get it, and I was fully on board.
And incidentally, some of you may or may not know that the video store that's featured in the film is the video store you and I worked at, and that's where we met, and we talked movies on the shift change and things. So for another fun fact, unfortunately, I can't remember when that closed, but that's no... Oh, wait, never mind, 2011.
Yeah.
That's the day we started the Huge Movie Fanatics channel.
Yep.
So that video store, unfortunately, is no longer in business. But here's my question. So as you already stated, and by the way, when I was younger, in teens and 20s, and when I made videos with friends and things, it was the exact same thing. It was let's film something. We'll just do it on the fly. Mosquito on your head. Apologies.
Okay.
And you know, I did the same thing as teens and 20s with friends, but this was something I was doing more or less by myself, with my dad helping, and it was the you know, more of a higher tier of where it was trying to be more or less, you know, professional in the sense that I wrote the script and everything beforehand and stuff. What were your thoughts going into it being like? Because I think you had commented, damn mosquito.
Yeah,
oh my God, it's right in your face. I think you had commented about, because the basic gist with the whole movie, or the movie, is that more or less the people, the other people that are in it are more, not to say that you weren't an acting enthusiast, you were, but you weren't like, I don't want to speak for you, but I don't think your goal in life was to become an actor.
Like,
damn mosquito.
When I was younger, I know, right? We'll get it. When I was younger, I like the first step into the filmmaking world, I wanted to be an actor.
Oh, okay.
That was what I wanted to do. And then sooner or later in there, I ended up wanting to...
Did you kill it?
No.
You may? Okay, you may have.
Oh,
go ahead.
Right on. So I wanted to be an actor early on, but then I saw a movie. Scream was the first movie that I saw where I was like, I want to be a filmmaker. Like, that was the movie that dawned on me that people made this. And
it didn't just happen.
At that point, I wanted to, like, direct a movie, but I figured if I'm directing a movie, I want to be in it. And it took me several more years to sort of hit that, like, well, nobody's going to let me just direct and star in a movie. I should probably write it as well. And then I ended up getting good at writing, and my focus ended up going more on the writing side of things. And that's even still what I do now. Like, in my free time, I like to write.
Well, didn't you years ago put out a book?
Well, yeah, so I do have if you look up my name, Matt Hemke, Hoemke, on Amazon, you can buy yourself a film journal, a 31-day horror movie challenge. But I've also written a full feature novel, like 500-some-odd page novel, that I'm in the stages of editing and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I remember you saying something in 2015. Is that the same thing or something different?
No, that was something different.
Oh, okay.
That one didn't end up going anywhere, but yeah.
Okay.
But I have some published work on Amazon.
Okay, well that's very cool. Going back to my question, like when you did Camp Kill, it was more or less like acting enthusiasts and stuff that were mostly in the movie, more or less. And how did you feel going into that as I guess, I don't want to call you a novice, but
no.
as being a novice?
For a while, right out of high school, I was sort of like, we still had a lot of film production happening in Minnesota at that time. A Prairie Home Companion was being made. I was sort of like almost a professional for a year or two extra, and I would be in a lot of different movies, like as an extra. And so you sort of see those style of personalities, and the one thing I remember from Camp Kill was all of these actors who were aspiring professionals had that same energy as like the professional extras. Somebody, they would always talk about other movies they've worked on or done and stuff like that, and not in a negative way. This is a neat thing about an aspiring actor is they like to share about what they've done and their experiences and stuff like that. Some people kind of see it as being gloaty, and that certain personalities kind of lean that way. I didn't experience that so much with this film, but it was just neat seeing people who that's what their pursuit was, actively working on doing it. And when you are a young actor and stuff like that, just trying to be in movies, you'll like do anything that comes your way and you bring full energy to it. And I appreciated seeing that, because at that point I was like I liked acting. I've always liked acting, but you're right. That wasn't my like career trajectory that I was shooting for.
Okay. Is there any specific memories on the shoot that have stuck with you over the years? Anything that's positive or negative or anything at all that sticks out?
Um, Not that not specifically. One revolves around the energy that the three of us were bringing to the scene where the dude was clerking at the video store, because one of us had absolute high energy. One of us was very kind of like mellow, and then I was sort of somewhere in the middle, and I was trying to find which tempo kind of to match. I remember trying to see naturally I just kind of am a little more mellow, so I match tone with the other guy, but the primary figure in this scene who's coming in with like brimming energy and talking very fast and stuff like that, almost Tarantino-esque, like it just didn't seem to jive, so I was like, we got to find a middle ground. This was my internal process, so I was trying to find a way to at least be the middle between the two energies of actors.
Okay.
But both of them were really nice guys working with them, and they would talk about, I remember them talking about other prior acting experience. We just asked each other like what we've done in the past and stuff, and they were nice dudes.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. Camp Kill was like the first movie. I'd mostly done shorts that were silent just because they were technically easier to do and stuff. And
Yeah.
and for a while there in my teens and early 20s, I was really big into silent movies and thought, what a perfect thing to do for low budget movies because it's technically easier. Plus, it's also kind of artistic and not a lot of people were doing it. But Camp Kill was like my first. Well, it was my first feature, and it was my first like. And when I was gonna do it, I was like, "Oh God, it's dialogue's not just gonna come out of nowhere. Can I even write dialogue?" And I gave it my shot, and I did what I did, and it was the first movie I did where like I had the dialogue all pre-written out, and I had like more or less, people who wanted to be actors as a profession, so serious actors in it. And I got to tell you, when they came in, and regardless of who it was or whatever, majority of all of them, you included, came in and started to even with just on the audition, some of them just did, read the dialogue off the page and stuff. I was like, oh my God, the first time I experienced like, wow, they're bringing this, these words on the page that I've never really even heard spoken out loud like to life. And just, it was kind of like, I was so busy making the movie I couldn't really express this to anyone, but after a shoot or if I'm cutting a scene together later, I'm just like, wow, it's like magical, because I'd never experienced that before. I'd done a lot of shorts and stuff, silent mostly and all this kind of stuff, so I knew how to film and cut and stuff, but as far as dialogue, it was like, wow. It was just so, that was one of the coolest things for me about the whole experience, is just not having a whole lot of experience with writing dialogue, recording it, even cutting it. I mean, it was a learning experience for me in regards to like dialogue.
Yeah.
Writing, trying to mic it competently, editing around dialogue.
I don't remember much. I seem to remember one thing, but I want to hear your answer. Do you remember if you were like, what's on the page is Bible, don't like you change, like just commit to the words written? Or?
I guess I was more or less one of those assholes who was kind of like, this is on a page for a reason.
I vaguely remember like, I think in one of the takes, either me or one of the other actors kind of switched up the order of words in a line, and you were like, oh, let's go back because it says this, and then I was like, oh, okay, so we need to like.
Yeah, basically there's two schools of thought. There's the perceived asshole. I
don't see it that way.
Oh, okay. But. Well, some people do or whatever. Like in behind the scenes and stuff, you always hear actors talking about the director who just let him do whatever. He's such a nice guy, and it kind of makes you think, okay, so what do they say about the other end of the spectrum, guys who they thought they wrote something and they want it as written or whatever, but Yeah, I kind of blabbed. What was your question? Oh, so it was like, yeah,
Were you more of a stickler for?
Yeah, stickler
This is the
to the-
this is the script. This is what we need to shoot.
yeah,
kind of thing.
I can remember a specific thing where Tony was the guy who was one of the three guys with your little group buddy thing, and there was one line where he said he's like, oh, too bad this table doesn't come with chess pieces. That was the line, but he added, I could teach you, and I'm just thinking that's not. You know, I don't know what he's doing. That's not in the script, and I kind of the way it was written it was like, you know, that makes it to the viewer like what he's thinking. But the way I wrote it was, too bad this doesn't come with chess pieces. Obviously, that means he'd like to play it.
Yeah.
We don't have to say I could teach.
Yeah, totally.
Kind of thing. So yeah, more or less, I was it's on the page, stick to it.
Yeah, I kind of approached my stuff sometimes similar. Like I've directed stuff that was both screenwritten and done stuff that, as I say, was on improv. Show up, we're gonna develop the scene, but then I would tell the actors, this is what I want you to say, and they would say either some form of that or they would match exactly what I said. If there was a line that I specifically wanted to be said, I made sure they did that. So that was how I had been working when I did your thing. So that's where I was like, oh, okay, I need to, like...
Was there any conversation, or you just kind of figure it out?
No, I just figured it out. Like, you can tell how somebody likes to work just by watching them and what they say. I listen to what people are saying and stuff like that. So I kind of picked up on that pretty swiftly. So yeah, I was just wondering what your memory of that is.
That was my memory. I can remember, well, when you were talking just then, I can remember being at the video store and you actually having a suggestion for getting a shot with the adult room had the little circular mirror bubble thing or whatever it is, and you were like, oh, that'd be cool to have a shot of. I don't know what the hell you wanted a shot of or what you were suggesting, but you were like, oh, that'd be cool to have like a shot maybe of the video store and that thing or something.
Yeah.
But I remember just thinking, oh yeah, that'd be great. You know, that another thing that was just not on my radar at all. But what am I gonna do? Say, shut up.
Not in my movie.
So it is interesting, and not that I wasn't open to suggestions. I can't remember if there were suggestions from anyone that I ended up going with, but yeah, for the most part, I guess I'm more or less one of them. Or on Camp Kill, I was more or less one of those. You know, I got an idea of what I'm going for here, and
I've definitely
damned if you get in the way.
When I have one that's like fully written screenplay, I had a movie that never got finished because of reasons, but it was a screenwritten one that I was a lot more like, oh, I need you to say this, this, and this. I don't want you to, like, I took the time to write this. This isn't us in.
That's exactly it too, though. You know, and it's like at the same time, I can't even, you know, I was just busy working. I can't, you know, at the same time, I would never discourage like anyone from coming up with an idea because something, I'm not saying I'm the god of of Camp Kill, and you know, if something was better than I thought of, then by all means, you know.
Yeah. So
I hope I didn't come across like don't come with any ideas because I'd be open to it.
No.
I thought you were sitting there. Oh, okay.
No, I was just like sort of laughing at the idea of that kind of perception of the director, because some directors are very much like, I don't want input, I have this vision, and you are here to fulfill it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know, you know, I never really had any time to talk to anyone. I can only assume that throughout the course of the movie, people kind of, like you did, just kind of realized as it progressed, the shoot, that, yeah, this is pretty much what's on the page is what we're doing. And unfortunately, maybe that would discourage people from coming up or suggesting ideas, which would be unfortunate. But you know, I was so busy trying to fight the clock just to get the thing done that I never had time for any of those kind of conversations. It was like, okay, we're here, the battery's charged, tapes in the camera, lights, as always, it's not getting any brighter out. We're losing the light. And do you remember? Here's a memory. That one scene where the character's name is Guy. It's Tony comes back from the campfire, and you and Derek is the actor's name. Are peeking out the window at some chick who's taken off her top. that scene, I don't know if you remember this or even knew it, but that, well, you probably didn't know it, but that scene consists of, just that scene of him coming back in consists of 3 different days. Now, I don't know if you remember, but I was so frustrated with the scheduling. Like, that's why this movie took 2 freaking summers to make, because it was like, oh my God. It seemed like each summer went, the first summer of '08, it's actually the 16th anniversary of you filming your stuff, because your stuff was in '08.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe how quick the '08 went.
Yeah.
You know, and so there was like one day where all 3 of you, you know, had available for like the whole summer. And it was like, oh, it was cloudy, and it was like, looked like it was gonna rain and all this kind of stuff. So when we did that scene, I was pointing the camera in the window, and I had to blacken out the windows with plastic and stuff, and I had the plastic behind me and stuff. So that was day for night inside, but then I had a shot later on of Tony coming in, which had to actually be night. So that shot of him I did later on at some other night. Then there was a shot of you two from over there looking out the window, which it was really night out, that you and him did on another night. Yeah. So that little scene was 3 different nights or 3 different days. One of them was day and 2 of them were night, just for that little scene.
It's wild how sometimes stuff like that works. I remember there was one time when one of my short films that I made, I was remaking something that I'd shot literally 5 years ago. And when I started editing it together, I was like, this just doesn't look good. And I had mostly the same actors from the shoot 5 years prior, and I was like, you know what, F it, nobody's going to notice. So I put in the shot from 5 years ago for like the first minute of the movie. It's stuff happening 5 years prior to everything else in the rest of that movie.
Was it involved people that have aged?
I mean, it did, but it was so dark that, like, the silhouettes, you can tell everybody looked a little trimmer, but that's about it. Like, it didn't matter.
Wow.
So, it's strange how you do discover that, like, film doesn't matter. Everything kind of can arrange itself to look fine as long as you make it so. And so everything is shot out of order. It's a big jumble. It's a headache to get the thing done. Especially if you're working with people with schedules and stuff like that, and that's been crazy. I've had to go over that with my stuff as well. So yeah, I didn't remember. Like, I remember being actually in this very room, like, shooting stuff, but all of that had blipped away until being in here talking about it, and like, coming in here, like, your sense memory is the same, and so, like, coming in here, it has the same, like, scent of when I was filming before, so to immediately just walking in here now brought back those memories of, like, oh yeah, I shot in here, didn't I? This was, like, the cabin shoot. And then you talked about the window thing, and I remember that now, too. I'd forgotten about that. But I can remember now doing it. That's really strange.
And you'd kind of forgotten until you walked back in.
Yeah, like literally just when we started rolling the camera kind of thing, walking in here, setting up, I was just like, oh wow, I remember being in here now, filming and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we're winding down, and then I got something to show you at the end, see if you can recollect that at all. But as we're winding down, I want to just get your thoughts on this. Your role was the only one, and I want to see what you thought about it. You were so gracious either way. Mm-hmm. Your part was the only one that involved, being in a bathing suit and getting into the water, and your death, of course, involved being in the water and stuff. Like, how did you feel about that, and was that cold? It was like a one-take thing, because we didn't have another swimsuit to dry off, kind of a thing. Yeah. So you can see your shoulders, like, go up. Like, were you freezing, or?
So, there's a couple components to this. I don't know that I was, like, fit ready. Like, I think now I'd be much more comfortable in a bathing suit. Like, I have a bit of the dad bod thing going on, but I've also been working out. I didn't work out back then. So I have, like, tone and muscle now that I didn't before, so I'd kind of like to reshoot those scenes.
Sorry.
But I love swimming. Swimming is my favorite, one of my favorite things. However, I grew up in an apartment building that had this heated swimming pool 24/7.
Swimming pool.
Yeah, so
tiny difference.
I do not like outside swimming because usually the water's cold, especially Minnesota. and doing that in the pond, I also don't I don't like swampy things or like sticky things, like the seaweed stuff. Not my jam. So that was not my favorite thing. I do remember filming that. My death scene, I remember absolutely, but you know, pain is temporary, film is forever kind of situation.
Oh man.
But I would never complain about it because, as I say, that's one of the things I remember most from like any of the filming projects that I've done. My stuff, other people's stuff, is the death scene there because it was a fun one. Who gets killed with a fish hook? That's cool.
And I gotta tell you, and I told you this, you know, right after we did it and stuff. And at the risk of being an ass kisser, like I just, you know, this guy did this, you know, being yanked by a fish hook just by himself. He didn't have a rope around his ankle or nothing. He was just pretending like a kid, you know, making make-believe that you were getting pulled away by a hook that was embedded in your ankle or whatever.
And I didn't even like see the hook ahead of time. You weren't like, imagine this is what's going to kill you or something like that. It was just like, you were like, all right, well, you're going to, so I had to just trust that I'd give you enough footage to make it work. And I think it did. I think that's one of the more effective moments in that movie. The one thing I do want to say about the movie is like your like final cut of the movie that like I've only seen it one time.
Oh jeez.
I'm sure you've seen it 100,000 times.
I'm a big fan of it.
Oh, I know, and it's not that I'm not. But what I will say is your love of the genre of particularly early 80s slasher films, and particularly that of the Friday the 13th franchise, is very evident. But unlike any like knockoff Friday the 13th things that I've seen, you do a really good job of capturing the like the style of editing of Friday the 13th and the feel of it. It feels much more authentic to a movie made at that time than anything I've seen that's trying to approximate something like that. Like, say, Final Girls, or even in the
2009.
Oh,
2009, you've seen that. We're gonna talk.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen. I work in a movie theater. I've seen parts of it. I've dipped in and watched little scenes. Or like, say, the third Saturday in October or something like that. I don't know if you've seen those.
No, but like Friday the 13th, 2009, could that go on your list?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, you capture that so much where it feels like you're watching something that could have come out at the same time that's like a sister film.
You know what?
Whatever.
Thanks so much. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's
Why did it take
something
you 15 years to say?
I mean, yeah.
You've been meaning to say it for 15 years. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Very cool. Well, I think that pretty much does it. We're gonna cut here. This is our last little part right here. Your death, you know how it is. Do you remember there was an alternate death that we filmed?
No, there was an alternate death.
Okay, this is why I didn't want to talk about it before off camera. I had an alternate death, and I thought, how cool would it be kind of funny in a slasher movie where all the other kills in this movie are slasher movie fare, sharp instruments, that kind of stuff. How funny would it be if you see you swimming and then there's just a shot of the shore and like just a gun comes up into the shot and then BAM!
I
remember anything like that?
remember that.
Okay, because we're gonna show the viewers and you the actual the outtake of us trying to do you being shot while you're in the water.
Now that you mentioned it, I do remember that, and I was like, how's he gonna pull this off?
Yeah, well, I at the time I was hopeful like that my dad could have a friend who like had some real gun and we got blanks to actually go to the country and just shoot, because I didn't want to be like bang, some fake ass thing. I wanted to be a real gun shooting blanks with the thing was sliding back and the thing coming out. But it's fair to say, because of the clip you'll see and I'll show you as well, like it didn't even get to the point where we needed to talk to anyone for a gun, because it just totally didn't work at all. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's probably for the best that you get killed with the hook anyway. So.
The hook thing is a much better.
Oh, it's much better.
Much better.
I'm glad the gun thing didn't work. But here, we're just going to cut to the scene to show them first, and then I'll show your reaction. So this will just, for us, Matt, it'll just be a second. Here's the scene, the deleted alternate death scene of the character being shot to death, or the attempt shot to death while swimming by a gun. Okay, let's just have you let's have you get into acting and just meandering. And obviously just keep acting, and I'm gonna, when one of these appears, try to pretend like you got shot. That's, you're pretty far out there, but just keep acting, and we'll just give this a shot. Okay, hold on. Now this one, when this one hits,
Yeah.
pretend like you got shot. Like,
Okay.
okay, you're just meandering. Let me make sure you're in the. Okay, there's Liam sitting there. Okay, never mind. That's okay. Okay, back to just swimming. Okay, keep doing it. You're gonna get shot again. Okay. All right, everyone. That was the scene. For obvious reasons, the alternate death that didn't work out, and now Matt's going to see it for the first time, making sure the volume's up. Here we go. Okay, never mind. That's okay. Okay, back to just swimming. Doing it. You're gonna get shot again.
That is.
I forgot to mention to the viewers that that my idea was to throw pebbles in front of them and hope that, you know, if you did a quick cut,
Yeah.
you cut out the pebble flying, and
I almost feel like it would have worked better if you. I think I should have just been like, you know what, throw a rock at me.
Okay, never mind. Okay, yeah. I just love that the second time where you laughed over it. Listen to you. The second one where you're like, this ain't working. Okay, here you're. Now listen to this one. Keep doing it. You're gonna get shot again.
What do you mean that isn't movie ready?
So I still think
My biggest impression and pull away from this is I guess I was more muscular than I remembered.
well, yeah,
in that shot.
You weren't bad.
I
Not
guess.
that I was looking.
No, but like my memory was I was much more like Gollum or something.
Yeah, but a very toned Gollum.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
But yeah, that's something that I'm glad I got your reaction on camera
totally.
to, like, you're like, alternate death. Yeah, that was always something that I thought would have been funny. But I think fate was on our side, and I think it worked out, as you say, for the best with the hook, because
Yeah.
I don't need to put a little bit of whatever, leprechaun in the hood in there, or whatever, camp kill in the hood. So
Yeah.
we kept it to sharp implements and stuff. So I guess if you're done with recollections,
I am.
I guess that pretty much does it for my questions. Thank you very much, Matt, for joining me. 15 years, I don't know if I said it on camera, I think I did. 15th anniversary of the release of the film, 16th anniversary of him filming his part of the movie. Majority of the movie was filmed in 2008, and then there's a little bit left with certain characters that I had to do in 2009. But thank you very much for that very kind. That was great. Thank you for the kind words, because I think that's what I was going for, and I like to think, like I say, I'm probably Camp Kill's biggest fan. I love the movie, and I when I watch it and it's over, I'm like, obviously there's stuff in there that's, I cringe at, but I think for the most part, when it's over, I'm like, wow, good way to go, Nate. That's pretty much exactly what I was hoping to.
That's like any filmmakers want, is to have a final product that is on par with what their vision was.
And that's what's interesting in closing, I swear, that you hear so many directors interviewed and stuff like, oh, I can't watch that. I can't watch my movies. And I just think because for me, like if I look back at Camp Kill, I'd say, you know, the movie's like 2 hours and 40 minutes long. Out of all that, my percentage of the final outcome compared to what I was hoping would probably be as high as 95% of what I wanted is right there. And, you know, 5%, it's no budget. I mean, you're not going to be able to get 100. But I don't, what are your thoughts on like all these directors saying, I can't watch my movies because all I see is the...
I mean, you were writing for something that was attainable. Like
that's just it.
A director that I think might say something like that is somebody who's writing bigger
Star
than
Wars
what they
or...
are able to accomplish.
Okay.
Yeah, Star Wars is a great example. Like clearly Lucas, his vision was far they had to invent the technology to get what they made, and he was never satisfied with it because it was far different than where his imagination can take him. That movie probably would have worked better as a novel in his mind, which is where all these stories came from anyway. So I think that's where it is, or what it is. And so unless you're like somebody like Spielberg or something who has infinite money working with them, you don't really hear them complain about the final product. It's usually the mid-budget directors or people whose budget has to be sacrificed elsewhere, like Shatner's Star Trek V kind of thing.
Oh, golly gee whiz. Okay, interesting. But yeah, that was always really weird to me. And I think a lot of that is, you're absolutely right, like, what's realistic, and when I set out to do, that's what's so fun about low-budget filmmaking. If you have any history in making shorts or whatever, you know what you're capable of, so you don't write beyond what you're capable of, and then you're not going to be disappointed because you know what you can do before you do it.
Yeah, totally.
All right, well, thank you very much, Matt, this was really cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. A little bit of, after like nearly 15 years of more or less silence, I mean, you know, the movie's still available. You can still buy the DVD of Camp Kill. You can watch the first half, campkill.com. You can watch the first half for free. You can buy the second half, YouTube stream. Check out campkill.com for all the information for that. Feel free to check out your YouTube. What the hell is it?
State of Flux.
The link's in the description. Huge Movie Fanatics. It's our former review channel, and I mostly do on it, but every now and then, and I'm very grateful that you and I have reconnected to do reviews as well on Huge Movie Fanatics. I've appeared on State of Flux, there's stuff definitely that you guys can check out. The Camp Kill DVD to buy, Camp Kill DVD to buy, websites to go to, and all this kind of stuff. So thank you very much for joining me with this little 15 years later or 16 years later talk with Matt. It's been actually a lot funner than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Not to say that, oh, Matt, it's not going to be any fun. It was really, really cool, so thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you guys for watching, and maybe we'll see you in another 15 years.
I was going to say, we'll see you at 25.
We'll see ya. Catch you later.